What's good? We are back, and today I have a Zach Edey build for you in NBA 2K25. This is going to be a 7'3" post-scoring type of build. We still end up getting shooting on this build also. Going to be very dominant in the paint. Zach Edey's going to go crazy on the Memphis Grizzlies this year. You already know we had to get him in 2K. Honestly, a pretty crazy build we put together today. Real quick before we get started, 99% of you watching the videos are not subscribed. Drop a like, drop a sub. And without further ado, let's get right into the Zach Edey build. All right, getting right into the physicals here. As you can see, I said in the intro, we are going to go position center, height 7'3", 268 pounds with a max 8-foot wingspan. You can clearly see this build is going to be extremely big and very dominant. If you want a build that can throw any other player in the entire game out of the way, this is going to be the one for you. Zach Edey coming into the league this year has an extremely unique play style. Not one you see very often, but it does make a very good post scorer in 2K. Really excited to get into this one. Let's check out the finishing on this build. All right, getting into the finishing, this is honestly what makes this build so crazy. As you can see, we're 7'3", but we also get a 94 close shot, 90 standing dunk, and a 94 post control on this build. With this close shot, we are going to be able to get Hall of Fame hook specialist, gold paint prodigy, and Hall of Fame float game. Anything standing near the basket or hook shots will be extremely easy to make on this build. I also hit starter 4, so I unlocked the Joel Embiid post hook, which if you didn't know is the best post hook in the game. So make sure you're putting that on. This finishing category, I will say, is also where I'm going to be putting my +5 cap breakers. I haven't decided if I'm going to go 99 close shot or 99 post control yet, but I am leaning towards post control. I do know that my +1 cap breaker that I'm getting from hitting level 40 this season will be going on strength, though. We'll talk about that again later, but just remember that. For the 90 standing dunk, we will get gold rise up and silver aerial wizard. Gold rise up's extremely good this year, and it's going to be even better on a 7'3" build compared to the 7-footers that I've been playing on. Overall, I think 90 is a great rating to stop at. You still get a ton of really good animations, but it's not all that expensive on these bigger builds. Getting onto the post control, a massive piece of this build. It's going to help us get that Hall of Fame hook specialist, silver post fade phenom, as you'll see from our shooting here in a second, Hall of Fame post powerhouse. We're going to be throwing everybody out of the way, gold post up poet, and silver unpluckable on this build. But like I said, I'm leaning towards putting my 5 cap breakers on this to get it to 99, get a bunch of those finishing badges legend, and then there really won't be anybody in the entire game that can stop us, especially with how post defense is this year. The drop steps are crazy, the spin-offs are crazy. There's really not going to be a single person in this game that's going to be able to stop this build. And even if they do, as you'll see later on, the defense on this build is very good, so you're also going to be able to get stopped. It's not like it's only offensive heavy. Overall though, some crazy finishing stats. Let's check out the shooting. Into the shooting here, and it might not look like much, but this 78 mid-range is going to change the build for us. If you didn't watch Zach Edey in college, he did not shoot a single three-pointer his entire college career. It looks like from some clips that might change in the NBA, but I'm not putting three-point on this build. We haven't seen anything yet. Mid-range, though, will help us with any post fades. That's what that rating comes from. Even with a 78, we're still going to unlock quite a few good jump shot bases. I do have a jump shot for this kind of build in my jump shot video posted on my page, so if you need one for that, make sure you're checking that out. And even with only having a 78, we're going to get bronze Deadeye, silver post fade phenom, and silver set shot specialist. Mid-ranges are extremely broken this year. Everybody's starting to figure it out. From the looks of a lot of videos and a lot of clips, mid-range honestly looks like it's better than three-pointer in a lot of cases. And being able to spot up outside the paint on this build is going to make it way, way better. You're basically an inside that can still space the floor, run the pick and pop. Just make sure you're staying inside the three-point line. And then as far as the 64 free throw, I probably will not be using this build in 5s very much just because of how slow it is. You'll see that later on. But if you did happen to bring it out, it's got the strength to make up for it, and 64 will help you knock those down every once in a while. Just put on a good free throw and figure out how to time it. You'll be all right. Really not too much to say about shooting though. Let's check out the playmaking. Getting into the playmaking here, again, might not look like much, but we do get a 65 pass accuracy and a 44 ball handle on this 7'3" build. 65 pass accuracy, more than enough for the 2s court, which is the main spot I'll be using this. And if you wanted to bring it to the 1s court, you definitely wouldn't need any pass accuracy. And you would be able to because you're going to be bigger and stronger than everybody else you play against. Also, the 65 rating does get us bronze dimer and bronze break starter. I've been right around this 65 to 70 range on a lot of my builds this year, especially with the new patch to lane steals. They turned them down a little bit. As long as you're making a smart pass, it's not going to get picked off 95% of the time. And if we're being honest, playmaking isn't where this build is going to thrive. As you've already seen, we have extremely high finishing. Our defense is going to be really good. We still got rebound. What I'm trying to say is don't worry about the lower pass accuracy. This is not a playmaking build anyways. So let's not waste too much time here. Let's get right onto the defense. All right, so for the defense, as you can see, we get a 90 interior, 41 perimeter, 46 steal, 74 block, 92 offensive rebound, and a 77 defensive rebound. So interior defense is kind of weird this year, but having a 90 on a 7'3" max wingspan build is going to get you stops in the paint constantly. There's really nobody that's going to be able to score on you as long as you're playing good defense. Just play hands up. Nobody's going to be making layups over you. This is also going to get you badges like bronze paint patroller, gold post lockdown, and gold off-ball pest. So the paint is locked down, especially with that 74 block that we'll talk about in a second. Perimeter might be looking a little bit sketchy with the 41 perimeter and a 46 steal, but honestly, on a 7'3" build that's this big, you're going to want to avoid playing perimeter defense as much as possible anyways. And a tip for that, if you are guarding somebody in the perimeter, do not hold LT. That's what activates these stats. Holding LT instantly switches your speed to perimeter defense and agility, but if you're just running around with right trigger, then you should be completely fine. Just play back a little bit. You can always jump to get contests. You really just have to know how to move on these bigger builds to make them effective and try to bait people into coming into the paint, because that's where your defense is very, very good. 74 block, again, it's not the highest rating, but we do get bronze pogo stick and bronze paint patroller with this rating. And our super long arms, along with being 7'3", nobody's making builds this tall this year, so you're gonna have the advantage automatically, being able to send anything back that comes in the paint. And with the way they changed the contest system, I've been jumping at a lot more perimeter shots and honestly getting more blocks. They seem to have toned down the jumping at shooters' fouls, because the way the contest system is now, you basically have to jump to get as close to the ball with your hand as you can, so that every single shot's not just wide open. As far as rebound, I ended up going with a 92 offensive rebound, because if you are using this as a post scorer, you're gonna wanna get as many of those offensive rebounds as you can, and this gets us gold box out beast and gold rebound chaser, which I will be max plus wanting the rebound chaser to get it to Hall of Fame. We're gonna be snagging over everybody. This build's gonna be an absolute beast in the paint. Again, I say this in a lot of my videos, but if you don't know about how rebound works, as long as you have the badge, it's still gonna help you get those defensive rebounds even though the rating's a little bit lower. So 77 will feel like a lot more with the gold rebound chaser or Hall of Fame rebound chaser once you max plus one it. What I'm getting at is this 92 rating is gonna help you a lot with the rebounds. Not too much else to say about it though. Let's check out the physicals on this build. And on to the physicals here. As you can see, our speed and agility are pretty low, but you have to remember how big we are. We're not going to be running around trying to keep up with people with our speed. The entire goal of this build is to bully people with the strength and our size. So this is the reason earlier on I said I probably would not be bringing this build to the 5s, because it's going to be very slow getting up and down the court. But if you're using it on a court like the 1s or the 2s, you're going to be able to bully everybody because there's really not that far to run. And this 95 strength gets us a whole bunch of badges, which will help us with backing people down, throwing them out of the way for rebounds. And it also gets us Hall of Fame brick walls, so we're going to be setting insane screens on this build. And this is a very important part of the build, so make sure you're listening to this. With the max plus one cap breaker that we get at the end of this season, I will be putting it on strength to get it to 96, because if I use my 5 cap breakers on post control and then the 1 extra one I get on strength, we'll have legend post powerhouse, throwing people out of the way. That's the main goal, is to get that to be as dominant as possible. So once you get that extra cap breaker, make sure you're throwing it on strength if you make this build. It's going to make it very, very good. And then we ended up maxing out the vertical at 67. That's going to help us grab rebounds. It's going to help us get dunk animations. We do end up getting all of the standing dunk animations, including the contacts, except for the elite ones. Like I said, with the finishing, the dunking on this build is going to be crazy, and you're just going to dominate anybody in the paint. That's going to do it for the build, though. Let's check out the build name real quick. All right, as you can see, we do get the Wilt Chamberlain shade, which is pretty cool. And our build name is going to be two-way inside the arc threat. I think this build fits Zach Edey very well. I hope you enjoyed if you make it. Thanks for sticking around to the end. Drop a like, drop a sub on your way out, and I will catch you in the next one.